Well, thank you, Tela. It's lovely to see you again.
Thank you.
So, you have a new project. Could you tell us a little bit about this project? And forgive me for my pronunciation. Perhaps you can tell us straight away what it's about and who the main figure is in this new project.
Álvaro de Campos. Álvaro de Campos, now you correct my English because I don't know, how do you say heteronym? Heteronym? An heteronym, it's a character created by an artist that's not just, how do you say when...
Like a persona.
It's a persona.
Yes.
It's not a writer's name when you say he wrote under the name of da-da-da. No, he creates a character that has very specific features and personality and a life, and so he created several different characters, and he wrote poetry, Fernando Pessoa, as himself or as one of those characters, and the poetry written or prose, whatever was written by any one of those characters, would obey the personality that he had created for that character specific. Fernando Pessoa, the poet, creates all those characters. He created Ricardo Reis, he created Alberto Caeiro, he created Álvaro de Campos. Those are just the three most well-known, but there are several others in his life. He was a very quiet man, apparently, but his mind was always bursting with creativity, so he had to explode to several fronts, I suppose. Álvaro de Campos is not only my personal favorite one, but it so happens that Fernando Pessoa invented that Álvaro de Campos was born in Tavira. So he makes this connection, very strong connection to this town. So that's why now, and he was born the 15th of October, 1890. So he would be 125 years this year. And that's what we are celebrating the 125 years of Álvaro de Campos, of this character that he created. And he created with very specific features. He was raised here, but he went to study in that.
Just tell us about what your plans are in terms of the project then, because it looks to me, as you said, this is 125 years of the
life of this character.
Yeah, and the program that you have set up starts on the 8th of October and runs through to the 18th of October.
Yeah.
And it is all over Tavira, all Tavira related. So tell us what your thoughts were behind setting up that program and some of the events that will take place.
It came up as a program from a coincidence. I wanted to celebrate this birthday. Last year, I already did something to celebrate Álvaro de Campos' anniversary. And last year I brought a group of Brazilians here, and one of them was a composer, a group that made a project called There Is Music in Poetry. They were musicians and poets, and one of them composed a new song based on using one of the poems by Álvaro de Campos, and through a cultural program established by the Ministry of Culture in Brazil, they could get their travel expenses covered for, and they came here to offer to the city of Tavira this gift to the poet, which was this composition. So at the time we made this little show happen in everything that had any connection with the name Álvaro de Campos. The Academia de Música, that is on the street Álvaro de Campos. The Álvaro de Campos Library, the Álvaro de Campos Restaurant. So and Casa Álvaro de Campos, which is an association that exists for circa 30 years and dedicates to study and promote the works of Fernando Pessoa and Álvaro de Campos.
So will you be doing any of these events at the library that is named after this character?
We this year what happened was that by coincidence I had my play called Los Negros, Luís Conceição and Álvaro de Campos, Amor e Medo, about love and fear, was bought by the Teatro das Figuras in Faro for the 8th of October. And Casa Álvaro de Campos had managed to have some support to make a program on the weekend of the 18th, including a very important, well-known maestro and pianist in Portugal who will be here for a concert. So and they got some support for this. I got this invitation for that, and I all of a sudden looked at that and I said, well, last year we made a small party. Why don't let's try to make a big one? So I talked to Casa Álvaro de Campos. They were very glad to, of course, participate in something like this. And so we launched this idea to some associations and artists in town, and some of them answered. We just said, whoever would like to celebrate, you can just dedicate one program that you have at that time during this period, and we'll make a 10-day celebration starting the 8th and going to the 18th. Let's try to fill up those 10 days with a celebration, and his birthday is in the 15th, right in the middle. And so some people agreed to it, and the program started to compose itself, sort of. So the program opens with this performance in the evening, but since 2 in the afternoon, the exhibition called Tavira a Retalho, Tavira in pieces, by the NAFA Associação dos Fotógrafos, will be public, open to visitation. It's already there. So there is no money under this program, so we cannot do things that are not happening. So this first invitation was, if you have something that you can dedicate to the program without creating extra expense, because nobody has how to get money. So this exhibition is already there, but now they're going to make a research on the poems, and they'll try to figure out in the poems of Álvaro de Campos the references to the city of Tavira, and they will have those little pieces of poem connect to the images of the pictures that are in the exhibition. And this opens to the program on the 8th of October, so that's the opening of the story. Then we have an exhibition of paintings, the book marketing, the Música nas Igrejas offered on the 10th, Saturday the 10th of October, the concert by the choir of São Brás and the choir Canticorum. So those two choirs with a program that's not extra, but they will do one extra song, which is a song that I sort of challenged them to try to rehearse, written by a Brazilian composer. It's a simple fado, very cute, simple fado, that they will do on this day as an extra.
Where will they
at
do
the
it?
beginning. That's going to be in Ermida de São Sebastião.
Okay. Is
So-
that the one opposite the library?
Yeah. Casa Álvaro de Campos, on the Sunday 11th, will do the recital.
Just a second. Carry on.
So following the program, the Casa Álvaro de Campos on the 11th of October, Sunday, presents a recital by a new young pianist called Marcelo Montes. He's a young pianist who lives here in Luz de Tavira and is starting a career. So Casa de Campos has already shown some recitals by the young man, and he has a lot of talent, so they are supporting his launching. So he'll be here in the program, and he also he chose 2 poems by Álvaro de Campos, and he's composing some themes inspired on the poems that he chose. So even though people are doing repertoires that they already have, they are trying to do an extra or dedicating something to the program. Then on the Monday and Tuesday, there will be some activity in the schools. Even though it's an internal activity, I still don't know if we're going to be able to open exhibitions, because it will pretty much depend on the response of the kids. So we are not compromising an open exhibition. They will always do an internal exhibition, and they will decide if they want to open it to public or not. In any case, it's announced here. They will promote some oficinas, some workshops, where they're launching the theme, My Álvaro de Campos, because since it's a character, there is a description made by the poet, but the image doesn't exist. He doesn't exist. So anybody can imagine a different one. Each person can draw a different Álvaro de Campos, even though the description is quite precise. It says he's tall, he says he looks a little bit like a Portuguese Jew. He is, his skin is morena, he's not very fair, so he's a little bit dark, like.
Well, that's good for the children to
Yeah.
sort of engage with their creativity and their imagination as
Yeah,
to what this
yeah.
character would look like.
And also to the possibility that an artist has to imagine,
Yeah.
even though the description is the same. Of course, each head will create a different
something
one.
different. Yeah, that's good.
So that's their exercise, more or less, their participation.
And where will that be?
In schools, I
Okay.
don't know exactly which ones will be involved. They are working this inside the schools, the secondary school where it
Okay.
is. So this block of different schools that are in the same place, more or less, near the station. So the word is going around there. There is another possibility, but this is not listed yet because actually nobody still developed it. But it's a little bit into the same, or not. I had launched this idea to the photographers, so I may launch this idea into another blog of photography that exists here in Tavira. You have this group, NAFA, but you also have Fotos do Conselho de Tavira as a group in the internet. So I may launch the idea for them, see if anybody wants to get it. And that idea would be Álvaro de Campos, tavirense. Álvaro de Campos, somebody born in Tavira, one tavirense. And the idea was that people would go around with the description made by Fernando Pessoa, trying to find people in town that they imagine could be of this family, of Álvaro de Campos' family, could be descendants of this poet, could have a similar description. And I think of one is a teacher in that area, and he's also one of the directors of Casa Álvaro de Campos, and for me, he's Álvaro de Campos, it's Pedro Jubiló. Okay, so I challenge you to read the description and to look up Pedro Jubiló in the internet and see if you agree with me, because for me he's like a direct descent, and it so happens that he's a poet himself and a teacher. So this is going to be happening in schools. If it comes to public or not, we still don't know, but they will let us know and we will let people know. Then the Associação Fado com História joined the program, and they decided to promote a gala. So on this day, besides the exhibitions that they do every day, by 7 p.m., they will go to Igreja da Misericórdia, which is bigger, and they will make a gala. Fado...
Is that the church just
Right.
on the hill?
Yeah.
Just going up towards the castle?
Yeah.
Okay.
You have Casa Álvaro de Campos in this corner, you have the church here, and you have the Casa do Fado com História right on the side, so they're at home. And the tradition of the Fado singers promoting galas is also a very old tradition, as long as it exists, the Fado. Once in a while, to make some special, they promote a gala. In this gala, several Fado singers will be presenting things together. and the ladies will dress more, gala. It's nice. So they make this gala para o aniversário de um poeta. Gala for the for the birthday party of a poet. On the day itself of the anniversary, the 15th of October, on this day we have Vitor Correia from this Associação Armação do Artista. He will be doing 2 pieces in the morning, and then I invite everybody to go and check what he's going to do, and I'm not going to tell, but he will be in the Gilão River. And the hours, very strange hour, because it says at 10:18. 10:18 is the moment where the tide is the lowest.
Okay.
And the tide stay low for 15, 20 minutes, then it starts going up again. So it won't be long. He can only be in there for this small period, starting at 10:18, and he will be there in the river doing a performance. And on top of Ponte Romana, we'll have Fernando Pessoa's hat for people to put coins, because some of those groups, they will try to finance themselves by charging entrance fees, like the Fado, like the... So on the 15th in the morning he does that, in the evening at 7, using the Casa do Fado com História, which is in front of the Church Misericordia, or on the side of Church Misericordia, he will redo a performance that he launched for the first time in 2010, and where he makes this poem, A Tabacaria meaning the cigar shop, or cigarette shop, smoke shop. Which
The tobacconist.
Which is a longer poem. He does that with a musician, and it's a very interesting poem. Álvaro de Campos tells many stories. There are several of his works are stories told. Friday, in the library, Álvaro de Campos, there will be a piece made by a storyteller called Afonso Dias. He's a storyteller and musician, and he will be presenting his view of the 125th anniversary of the engineer Álvaro de Campos, because that's what is imagined as his profession. He's an engineer. This one is Nelson, that's his name. And
that's the cat. It's a very beautiful Balinese cat.
Yeah. He probably wants me to take him upstairs and give him tuna fish. That's his time for that.
They have this way of insisting.
Yeah. His one is very insistent too. So Friday, Afonso Dias in the library at 6 p.m. Saturday, the program is larger, and it starts at 3 p.m. with the presentations of books. One by Teresa Rita Lopes, which is considered at this time, she's a university professor, an academic, and considered one of the persons who know more about Fernando Pessoa and his work. She really goes in depth in it. That's her expertise, and recognized all over the place, including out of Portugal. And she's very respected as a scholar about the subject. So she'll be presenting a book by her. And Manuel Moya is a Spanish translator who translates works of Fernando Pessoa into Spanish. So he will also be here presenting a recent translation that he made. Then by 6 p.m. in the Clube Recreativo, I don't know if you know her, Ana Borges, she has an artist name of Ana Neto, a contemporary dancer. She gives also dance classes all over the place, together with André Rocha, who plays the bass.
The bass.
Yes. Joe Divine, I don't know if you know him. He plays accordion.
The accordion.
Yeah. And Stelmo Barbosa will be playing flute. And they do this piece called Alive, which is a contemporary dance and music piece, where she also sings and uses her voice. And I've seen this piece in the Hotel Villa Galé. She showed it there, and it's worth going to see. It's something very fresh and new and contemporary and surprises, because here we are so much used to not seeing anything contemporary that when you see something contemporary you say, wow, where am I in England? Where am I in Amsterdam? Where am I? Because here you only see traditional stuff, traditional music, traditional dance and folklore, and even the classical music that we see is old times classical music, traditional classical music. That has a reason that is connected to this organization that charges for authors' rights. And they established, and they have support, legal support, and they establish values that they charge when anybody presents pieces that are contemporary, meaning they are not in public domain yet. They have this chart of prices, this list of prices, that are really out of reality for a place like our size. They made this basic chart, so they charge a minimum. And I'll give you an example. If you're going to make a music show with contemporary music, there is a minimum of 112 euros that you have to pay this association of authors for them to produce the author's authorization that is asked by the inspection of arts to authorize you to make a show. And when you think, just make it very simple, Música nas Igrejas em Ermida de São Sebastião, they charge 5 euros per person, but they cannot seat more than 50 people in that space. It doesn't fit. That's the most people that you can fit there. So our publics in the small spaces where we work, and public that are willing to go out and pay for something to see, they're not much more than that. Even if the spaces were bigger, that's more or less the public that we have interested in stuff. If they go to Casa Álvaro de Campos, which is just a small bar, they can sit 20 people. That's all they can fit there. And the Ermida, 50. In the Academia, maybe 60. That's the size of the rooms that we have. So imagine, well, let's see, Casa Álvaro de Campos, 20 people. If those 20 people pay 5 euros, I'll make 100 euros. How can I pay 112? Because this SPA, they charge this 112 for any, as the minimum for rooms up to 150 people. So it's from 0 to 150 people. Nobody here can pay more than 5. People are not able to or willing, or maybe some foreigners could afford to pay, but the locals in general cannot afford to pay 10 euros, for example. So when you try to imagine what is left for the artist when SPA pressures people in this way, of course what happens is that instead of showing contemporary, you show something that's already in public domain, because then you don't have to pay. And then whatever money you make goes to the artist, the interpreter. So this keeps the small places like Tavira and all over the country into the past. People don't get acquainted with contemporary language, contemporary production, unless the artist is living there, which is the case of Anna. And she now can show something that may even seem strange to most people to say, oh, what is this? And then they're saying, this is not ballet as I know it. So it's a completely different approach. So when you see something contemporary, and her work is not even the most contemporary of all. She doesn't make the more edgy things or weird or strange or whatever, challenging. She still is in the... But it already... Oh, man, what is this, huh? So it's nice to go and see this alive here, I think. And I think she's also going to be working her... something coming from Álvaro de Campos. She'll get some inspiration there. Then, following this in the evening, a clear, clean recital of poetry by Álvaro de Campos, by an artist who does poetry mostly. Sunday, there is this conference by 3 experts on the subject, and they make a program that they call Rescaldo de Orfeu. Orfeu was a magazine launched in the 1920s with the first modernist ideas in Portugal, and Fernando Pessoa was an activist of this magazine, Orfeu. This year in Lisbon, there was a big exhibition made about Orfeu where they recovered the first documents and the first paper and the first meetings that somebody took notes of, and there was this big exhibition about Orfeu, which didn't exist for too long. But in any case, they are sort of studying the subject they will be presenting there for us. And finally, on the 18th, this maestro, Antônio Vitorino de Almeida, he's a very well-known and respected pianist, who's also very popular because he used to have a program on TV. And when people get programs on TV, they become really very popular. So he made a big service to Portugal by bringing classical music into the large audiences of television. This doesn't exist for some time yet, but people still remember him more by his program, whoever had opportunity to see it. So so far we are going to charge entrance fees. The Câmara de Tavira is giving some support for this concert of Maestro Vitorino de Almeida. The Direção Regional de Cultura do Algarve gave some support for my place, so they are mentioned here. But I still don't have any support for the program, so we are going to make the money that we eventually make. So today when I launched the program, I put my email there and I said it's open to continue because Causa Álvaro de Campos, they will have some other things until the end of the month.
So what is your email address, Tela?
partilha.alternativa@gmail.com.
Okay, I'll put that in the text. So
When you see, and here we just put 2 lines of one of the a poem by him that talks about aniversário, his birthday. No tempo em que festejavam o dia dos meus anos, eu era feliz e ninguém estava morto. So we are going to use this as the time that my birthday was celebrated. I was very happy, nobody was dead. I think that's so cute. Yeah. So, but he is somebody that never was.
Yeah.
So he cannot die.
Have a birthday either.
he lives as we remember him forever because he was never born. So that makes it easier.
That's
But
good.
he was born in Tavira in any case. So he is one of my favorites. And at this point in my life, and I worked with Álvaro de Campos and Fernando Pessoa as an actress in Brazil in the 70s. That's when I was introduced to the work of Fernando Pessoa and Álvaro de Campos. And I was always very much in love, and so much so that I created a whole piece here that had to do with this, not thinking about this anniversary, because that was done in December, last December. First presentation was in January, and we have been showing little bits here and there. But it's for me a consolation that I am at this point of my life living in the city where he was born, where this character was created. Because I moved here invited to come and work here, but in the end that was not true. There was no job for me, but I ended up staying here. But somehow my destiny brought me here to this place. And so I have this strong connection, which is very personal, but it's like many people have here and all over the place, because this character is perhaps the more like us everywhere. He has very strong feelings about several subjects like we have. He's passionate about something, or he is destructively sad about something. He could kill himself about something. If he was ever alive, he could kill himself. So he's very Latin in this way, I would say. Or not. Very human.
He's very alive,
Yeah,
which is strange because he's not real.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And so this I have already this translated in English.
Okay.
And but I still didn't have the time to format it and put it in the internet. But I
Okay.
will do this today with the help of John Costa.